Tommy, let's bring in somebody who shocked us all on Tuesday night on NXT and got to hear those TNA chants. Never thought you would hear TNA chants on NXT programming at the WWE Performance Center, but that's exactly what happened. Now let's bring in your TNA Knockouts champion, the one and only, Jordynne Grace. Jordynne, how are you? And thank you so much for the time.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I'm doing really good.
Let's dive right in. Oh, go ahead, Tommy. Go ahead.
For you, who put a lot of things out in social media, how hard was it for you not to discuss anything of what you did?
It was really hard, but I have my husband, so I tell him everything. So of course I told him, but other than that, I was like, there's no way. I love surprises in wrestling. So honestly, it wasn't super difficult to not tell anybody because all my friends were like mad I didn't tell them, but like it's so much better when it's a surprise.
Thank you very much. Right then and there. This is why she's my friend.
And it always goes back, Tommy, to Mark Henry. When Mark Henry made his debut at AEW Double or Nothing, he didn't tell anybody, including his own son, because he knows that if he told his son would tell everybody. So he kept his mouth shut, and it was a surprise. And Jordynne, I love that, because I had breakfast with Mark that morning when he made that debut, and I love the fact that I had no idea. I still believe in the magic of pro wrestling, and the fact that you were able to keep that quiet this day and age is extremely difficult to do, because, as you know, the way wrestling is covered, that somehow, some way, something would get leaked. But, you know, Ethan Page was a complete surprise, and of course, you coming out was a total surprise as well.
Let me tell you a funny story about Ethan Page. We're actually good friends. We're like in a group chat. We talk every single day. I had no idea that he was going to be there until I went down to the hotel gym that morning, and he was in there, and I was like, "What are you doing here?" And he turns around, and he was like in full panic mode. He was like, and the first thing he said to me was, "Please don't ruin this for me." And I was like, "What?" And then he told me that he was debuting, and I was like, "Dude, so am I."
That's amazing.
So that was pretty cool.
Did you make a bet who'd get a louder pop, and you won?
No, we didn't. We did not make that bet.
We made that bet once, and she punched me in the stomach, but that's a story for another day.
Okay, to be fair, he also like ran in, and you couldn't even tell who he was at first.
I know.
So I think that's something to do with it.
No, listen, put yourself over. You got a massive, your debut, the way you did it was set up perfect. There's been, I thought Roxanne did a great job of putting herself over. Ava did a great, even a better job of setting the table. And you know, I watched it live like everybody else did, and it was a massive surprise. But when your music hit, people were like, there's no way you're walking out there. I mean, that had to feel so cool for you.
Yes, it did. And hearing the TNA chants definitely got me emotional, because that's something you would never expect to hear in a million years.
And it's got to feel good. And this is kind of piggybacking from the Royal Rumble as well, Jordynne, because you really don't know. You know, the WWE audience in a lot of ways is a lot more mainstream than we see in other wrestling companies. So I'm sure going in, you know, how many people are going to know who I am? Everybody in that building knew exactly who you were. And like you said, those TNA chants, like, I mean, Tommy, we've never heard that. Have we ever heard like TNA chants happening on WWE program? But that's exactly what happened. And, you know, Vic Joseph and Booker T, Jordynne did a great job setting it up as well, telling exactly who you are, using your title as TNA Knockouts champion. I don't think you could have played it any better than the way it was played on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I think you have to make the most of every opportunity that you're in the spotlight, and I think that couldn't have gone better, to be honest.
For you, then you have next week, you have a match against someone, I forgot her name, I apologize.
Stevie Turner.
Stevie Turner, and that will be your NXT debut. Leading into then the next week, you have a match with Roxanne Perez. Have you ever faced Roxanne Perez before?
No, and you know what's funny? We actually both come from Texas, so we grew up in like the same circle. I think she was just like a few years behind me.
And then the next week, you have Against All Odds defending your title as well. Opponent unknown, So that
An
should
open
be
challenge.
oh hell! Now it's all coming together. Look
You
at
know
Dave;
what?
he's thinking.
No, you know what? You know what, Jordan? What I loved about it is Roxanne Perez started it fantastic, where she came out and she said that not in the WWE, but in all pro wrestling, that NXT had the best women's division. And that caught my ear because you don't normally hear that in the world of the WWE. They would say in that bubble of the WWE, but she said in all of pro wrestling. And then you came out and said how you're the foundation of what's going on with TNA and that Knockouts division. So once I saw that face off, I think most people would say that the two best women divisions in all of wrestling are NXT and TNA. I mean, this is super exciting. So how exciting are you not only for this match at a PLE for the WWE, but the fact that you are kind of representing the women's division of TNA?
Before I answer that, it's actually funny that you say that she said that verbiage because Roxanne had no idea that it was me. They wouldn't tell her, so it's just extra funny that she decided to say that.
Wow.
Yeah, so no one would tell her all day. Like the weeks coming up to it, no one would tell her, and they were gonna bring her back like 5 minutes before our segment so that she could find out who it was. And she was just like so frustrated. I guess she was like, you know what? I just want to find out when I go out there. So she had no idea that it was going to be me.
Ah, that's so cool. That's
That's
so cool.
great.
But as far as representing all of TNA, I'm glad that I work out shoulders every day because it's a huge weight. I feel like if I mean, there's a lot riding on it, right? Both companies are putting a lot of responsibility on me. If it doesn't go well, it could, be cataclysmic for the partnership between the two companies. So it's a lot of pressure, but I'm excited and I hope I live up to their expectations.
You will. I mean, you rocked and you talked about it. I mean, you crushed it at the Royal Rumble. I couldn't have been prouder for you as your friend, but also like for somebody that works in TNA, I was like, man, what great moments you had. But also like you've now learned you maximized every second you literally were out there, and you did the same in your debut on Tuesday. I mean, the way you walked to the ring, your promo, everything, you maximized, and that face off. I mean, we discussed the two of you facing off for what, a good 10 minutes, Dave.
Yep.
Just you have. I mean, you know this, and I'll say it publicly. You got it. You have that it factor now. You trained so hard to be the best, and you are. It's going to be, and I mean, I'm also a big fan of Roxanne Perez. Saw her versus Deonna Purrazzo, and I was like, holy crap, she's the next Mickie James. Never saw her heel turn because I thought she's a very lovable character, but she knocked it out the park. The fact that you're telling me she didn't know who was going to walk out there was even better, and I love the fact that WWE did that. How would you have reacted? You didn't know who's going to walk out. I think I'm going to start doing that to you.
Don't do that to me. I don't know if it was someone from a different promotion. Oh man, it's really hard for me to not wear my emotions like on my face. So I would have probably been excited and been like, okay, I'm not supposed to be excited. I'm supposed to be like, pensive about this. But yeah, I think that would have been like a really cool moment. And I think it makes for a better story too, just later on, like not like knowing now that she didn't have any idea and that she decided to say the line in all of pro wrestling. It's kind of kismet.
Yeah.
It really is.
And if you think about it, they did the same thing with CM Punk. They never told anybody in the ring that CM Punk's going to be out there, except I think it was they told Randy out of respect when CM Punk came back. So that's you're in high category there, young lady.
They also did you hear like all the different things they did backstage to like hide my I guess my debut. Like
No.
they had the everything printed out and it had a different name. They had put me as Alexa Bliss one time. They put me as Lita one time. They played Lita's entrance music instead of my music during like everything that was going on. Like they really went for it. They made me come at like 20 minutes before the segment happened, and they had like a private parking space, and then they just ushered me into the back room, like the first door as soon as you get in like they were really, really good about this.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, for leaks, right? That's nobody saw
Yeah.
it coming, which is great.
I love it. Jordynne, just talk about this year. I mean, being TNA Knockouts champion, being on NXT this past Tuesday night, being at the Royal Rumble in front of 55,000 fans. I mean, we're not even halfway through this year yet, and you've had like one of the most memorable years here in 2024. Just talk about this year and what it's been for you.
Every year I think is like my best year, but this has just eclipsed anything I could have ever dreamed of. Like in my wildest dreams, it would either be working for TNA or WWE. I would never have expected to be working for both the same time. And I had my action figure come out. I was in the role. Like there's so much. TNA came back. There's so many things I could list off. It's been a whirlwind.
So let me ask you, Jordynne, because when it comes to me, and I'm still like this, and I drive the people I work with crazy, because no matter how big or successful this brand becomes, it sticks in my mind the people who didn't believe in me. There's always that short list of people who don't believe in you, and those are the people that you remember, as opposed to thanking the people that actually helped you along the way. So are you the type of person that thanks to people that helped you along the way, or are you like me that still stick on those few people that were that obstacle in your way when you're climbing that mountain?
I think I've gotten to a position where I'm able to, like, those people that didn't believe in me, they know they messed up. So I'm going to forgive them because that's just, how I am. And I'm now at the point where I want to just thank everybody who's helped me along the way, because there's zero chance I could have been anywhere near this position without the help that I've gotten.
Dave's on the revenge tour of his life. You're on the I'm so happy that this happens, and I'm proving my doubters wrong.
I don't know. I thrive on anger sometimes,
No, really?
But you know what, Jordynne? That's a much healthier way to go. And I'm glad that you're at that point where it's like, you know what? Those people who didn't believe me, they already know it. They know it now.
Dave, you know what you have to do though, right? You have to see those people and you have to be like overly nice to them, because honestly, that hurts them more than anything, to know that they treated you a certain way and that you can still rise above it all and be nice to them.
Okay, I'll try. And
that's a little hard.
All right, so let me ask the next question. After the Rumble, and everybody was talking about it, I think I told you the last time that you were on, I was on the Jericho cruise, and there was some TNA personnel that were on the cruise, and we were all kind of watching the Rumble on this little laptop on the cruise, and just a smile from ear to ear on everybody's face. So you know that you did a fantastic job, and you definitely earned respect if people didn't have respect for you before. When you came out of the Rumble, were you expecting another opportunity? Were you expecting something like this to happen after your Rumble appearance?
Nope, I thought it was just like a one and done thing. And honestly, the buzz that I got from coming out of NXT has almost eclipsed the Rumble thing, just because people are like, wow, she's actually come back. It's not like a one and done appearance. It's not a one-off thing. And it proves that TNA actually like has a partnership now, basically, with WWE.
Sweet. I need to ask for a raise. With you for this match with Roxanne Perez, her NXT championship is on the line?
Correct.
You win that title. You then have to work Tuesdays as well as every other Friday, Saturday, whatever our TNA schedule is. You prepared for that?
I'm actually prepared for more than that. I think NXT runs more than just Tuesdays. I think they'd also do NXT Live. So honestly, I'm prepared to put my nose to the ground and grind it out again. I did it for years when I was on the Indies, so I'm not a stranger to it, and I'm ready to do it again.
It'll affect your indie bookings, bro.
I don't care about that.
I mean, Jordynne, are you kind of like, what's your mindset? Are you kind of on cloud nine, like, wow, or are you a little nervous? Do you feel pressure? Like, what are you thinking right now?
I'm so nervous. Like, there's no getting away from that feeling. It's almost the feeling of like you're looking forward to to afterwards more than anything else, because then you know that you did your job well. But it's a tremendous amount of pressure, Dave.
It's also, I mean, you're out of your comfort zone. Normally,
Yes.
what do you have? I mean, you come back through the curtain, you're used to the faces that you've seen, you know, whether it's Gail Kim, myself, and now there's a whole other people that don't know you. They don't know anything about you minus what they've seen on television, so they have to kind of know and adapt. So yeah, I mean, it's against your. I know from my point of view when I debuted in WWE, whole other world. And it was just like, you know, you have we're not in Kansas moments anymore. Did that happen to you already? Or, I mean, it looked like everybody was super duper nice and positive to you, just based upon your constantly posting every picture you can with Shawn Michaels. So
The good thing about having wrestled for half my life at this point and have been in TNA for so long is that I actually know so many people already in WWE. So I'm actually familiar with a lot of the people. And so I guess I'm just lucky in that regard. It is different because obviously I've never met Shawn Michaels before, but he is the nicest person. I haven't run into anybody who's treated me badly or said anything like off the books. Like people are really, really nice there.
cool.
No, that's cool because you know, like yesterday, and we had Ric Flair on. So you know, we've interviewed Ric Flair. Ric Flair's on the show. I grew up watching Ric Flair. So like, even as I'm talking to Ric Flair, it's kind of like I'm still gonna be a fan inside. I'm like, holy shit, I'm talking to Ric Flair. The week before, we were talking to the Undertaker. I'm still gonna be a fan and be like, all right, I'm doing my job, but holy shit, I'm talking to the Undertaker. Did you kind of have that moment with like Shawn Michaels? Because it's Shawn Michaels. So
Yeah,
like, did you kind of
especially
have
when he
that
was
moment?
like, he came in the room, and the first thing he asked me actually was about the Pop Tart beef thing. Yes. So
That has
if
gotten you so much traction.
people who don't know what that is, I shared just like it was a joke because people are always talking about things that bodybuilders eat, but it was a raw ground beef, like a slab of it in between two strawberry Pop Tarts. And I posted that and I basically said, I've been eating it for gains. And so that was one of the first things Sean said. He was like, "So can we talk about this Pop Tart beef thing? Is that something you eat every day?" And I was like, "No, that was a complete joke." He
That's
was like, "Oh,
awesome.
that's a relief. I thought it was real."
Do you?
I would
Let
have
me
I
ask
would
you.
have gone with the route of the icebreaker of we're both from Texas.
Oh,
You could have went that route.
well, he was like, "I'm such a big fan of you," and I was like, I'm a
That's
big fan of
awesome.
you too,
Oh no,
obviously."
but Jordan, holy shit! Like that's a holy shit moment where it's like
That's awesome, Jordan. I
Shawn
love
Michaels,
hearing that.
yeah, like Shawn Michaels is saying to you that I'm a big fan. Like that's pretty awesome.
It was crazy, and he knows about like my powerlifting stuff, the bodybuilding stuff. He brought up like just things that I've done over my career. He talked about specific things about the diet I've done in the past. Like, it just doesn't occur to me that these people get online and see that stuff, but it's proof that it is.
But
That's awesome to hear.
I also think it shows like how good you are at what you do and how much of a, excuse the pun, how much of an impact you have made in your career that, yeah, Jordan, yeah, people like Shawn Michaels are going to know who you are because look at what you've been able to do in this industry. In some ways it's like, holy shit. But in other ways, like, yeah, you know what? I've kind of earned that type of respect because of what I have accomplished.
Yeah, but you never expect someone like, Shawn Michaels or someone of that caliber to even know who you are. So I just went in expecting like, oh, he probably just saw like my Rumble buzz and wanted to use me because of that. But just for him to know all these specific things was insane.
He's also a student of the game and, being a part of that positive atmosphere that a lot of people do talk about, but also like, I mean, this is a big deal. And they do know a lot of stuff because they have to follow the industry. And I mean, I can totally see him taking a vested interest in you, just like I did, Gail did, Scott Demore did, because one, your uniqueness, but two, like you're coming into something that he's running, so he has to do is like it's almost like a background check. Is this person hard to deal with? I mean, there's all these other factors that go into a thing, and it is cool that he said that to you as well. That's awesome. When I met him, he said, "Nice to meet you," and that was it. So it was, no, only kidding.
I think he called me Don. Jordynne, and again, of course, Battleground taking place Sunday, June 9th, exclusively on Peacock. And it's going to be at that UFC facility, too, which is pretty unique and pretty cool. Have you ever been in that facility before?
Nope, I've never been in that facility at all. So
Gonna
it's
work out, gonna
definitely.
spar, gonna hit the cage. What do you like to do? Huh?
Oh my God, I'm definitely not gonna spar right before my match. Can you imagine just tearing my rotator cuff right before my match trying to throw a punch? No. I'm gonna stick with what I do best: going to the gym and lifting weights and getting on the stairmaster.
I saw you did that. You and he's another one, which I love the fact that he has his opportunity too. But the two of you went and worked out in somebody's gym in their house. He kept the door closed. It's hot. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so he actually used to be signed to NXT. He's like a ex, I believe he played football. So he got signed by WWE because he was like an ex-football player, and then he also got signed to AEW. And so now he's just like a personal trainer for athletes and everybody. And he trains a lot of wrestlers right now, like helps them transform their bodies. So actually, he just let us come to his gym. We worked out with him. He films like of his vlog videos, and then he fed us, which was awesome. So he had like a meal prep ready, and he fed us too. So that was super cool.
Very cool. And he kept the secret as well. I'm glad
Yes, he
that
did.
he knew that you were going to be there before I did, but that's a whole other conversation that will.
How did you not know?
Don't even get me started. I will not talk about that on the air.
You know what, though? Let's bring it back to the Pop-Tarts. Because with Pop-Tarts, Tommy, and I'm interested to get your view on this.
Mm-hmm.
You eat Pop-Tarts from time to time, right?
Have you not seen my body, David?
Do you toast the Pop-Tarts or you just eat them right out of the box?
I'm hardcore. I do them both. There are some Pop-Tarts that are better heated, just like Oreos. Some are better plain than with milk. Some
S'mores,
Pop-Tarts.
hot fudge.
Yeah. The cinnamon ones I like better cold than I do hot.
Jordynne, you?
I mean, I honestly don't eat a lot of Pop-Tarts because I'd rather just waste my calories on something else. But when I have eaten them in the past, it's been s'mores and the hot fudge ones. Those are like the best to me.
They recently had a maple one, which was phenomenal cold. And if you're a heavy set individual, you may put extra maple syrup on it. And Jordynne is more of a donut and cookie. She's an enabler sometimes, especially when she sees her good friend Tommy Dreamer dieting. She just goes, "Hey, Dreamer," and then she pulls out all these donuts for him who has
Because
no control.
Tommy, if I'm eating bad, everybody else has to eat bad too. That's
There it
the
is.
rule that I have.
Enablers.
Jordynne, NXT, of course, Battle Crown coming up on Sunday, June 9th, exclusively on Peacock, but also we have TNA as well on Thursday on Access TV. Jordynne, we're going to see a lot of you over the next few weeks, especially, and hopefully even more. And then hopefully 2 championship titles that you'll be holding, both the TNA Knockouts Championship and the NXT Championship. Go ahead, Tommy.
I have one last question because I'm not in the know.
Yeah.
If you win this NXT championship, are you able to defend it in TNA? Because then I'm just going to make sure I don't ever tell you who your opponents are.
I mean, I imagine so. If they have a partnership, they would. People can come over there and challenge for the title.
Okay. Interesting.
Did you see, Tommy, the post that Drew McIntyre put out yesterday?
Everybody's on. Jordynne, like she does on social media, she gets everybody worked up, right? From the Pop-Tart with the beef on it.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre throws something out, then Moose throws something out.
Yeah.
Just now, Ingrid, who works in TNA, she asked for Austin Creed, and now he's saying him and Kofi want tag team title shots and they want to do a song with Joe Hendry. At Jordynne goes there, Joe Hendry starts trending like he does like every other day. So all the boys, because they're marks, are all jumping in on it, which is fine, and I love it because I will book everybody in every different angle, even though I know nothing that's going on.
Because people know it's a possibility now. It's so exciting.
I love it.
And it's going to do so much for not only NXT, but for TNA as well. Jordynne, continued success. It's been an amazing year, and I think it's about to get even bigger come Sunday, June 9th at Battleground for NXT. And again, don't forget to watch TNA on Access TV every single Thursday or subscribe to TNA Plus. Jordynne, thank you so much for the time. Congratulations, and can't wait to see what's going to happen next.
Thank you guys for having me. Always a pleasure.